Here's what I was going to say, and I'm still going to say it. I realized that human beings, with the S, are dumber than a rock. Human beings are the most dumbest people on earth. What y'all thinking? Anybody feel offended that you're dumb? You feel offended?
Offended? No, I agree with it.
Oh, you agree? Okay, all right. Human beings are the most dumbest people on earth. And here's some examples. Human beings are looking for the answer. Some are, most are not. And I say to them, all you got to do is give up. Be still, do the silent prayer, and let the truth catch up with you. Stop trying. Doubt every thought. And what some human beings would do is that they would do the prayer for a minute, and then when they feel better, they say, oh, I feel so much better. The prayer is helping. And then so their troubles that they're having at the time go away, but they come back again in a different form. But in the meantime, they stop doing the prayer. They stop letting the truth catch up with them. The very thing that will help them, they stop doing it because they feel better for a minute. And feeling better is not the solution. Feeling better is still feeling bad, but you just call it feeling better, so you think, well, I don't need to pray anymore. And then as soon as something else goes wrong, and it will, they rush back to the prayer. Or they start whining. They start complaining rather than doing the one thing that will set them free. They'll rather listen to thoughts than to listen to nothing. Any human being that listens to thought is dumb. Even rocks don't listen to thoughts. Have you ever heard of a rock listen to a thought? Why do you then? See, I told you, dumber than a rock. Thoughts are your enemy. We want to live, well, you should want to live a no-thinking life. Except for practical thinking, what I'm gonna eat, what I'm gonna wear. You know, they said that guy that did the shooting up in Maine, they said he heard voices in his head. And then they said he got some earplug or hearing aid, and he was able to pick up voices from other people around him, and he would hear what they were saying about him too. So not only was he listening to the voices in his head, if it's true, he would listen to the voices of what other people think, and that stuff piled up on him, and it drove him crazy, because thoughts are evil. I tell you all the time that thoughts are evil. And what do? You listen to thoughts. You see thoughts as an identity. You think you are your thoughts. You think you are your feelings. You think this and you think that. You're never going to enter into the kingdom of heaven on thinking. You're never going to enter into the kingdom of heaven as long as you hold on to another identity. I'm a wife, I'm a husband, I'm a mother, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a that. As long as you have I'm a that and these things, you're never going to enter into the kingdom of heaven. In order to enter into the kingdom, you got to lay everything down. You got to let everything go. In order to enter into the kingdom of heaven, you got to let the world go. You can't have two worlds. The world is an illusion, and you are your own enemy. I tell people, have no fear. What do? They have fear. And then they'll blame somebody else for the fear that they have. When the fear is your fear, it's in you, it's not out there, it's inside of you, but you won't pay attention to see that the fear you're feeling is your fear, it's not somebody else. But you would say, oh, you made me afraid. I was interviewing a lady on the Fall State, and it's coming up next week. And she was an expert woman trying to recruit other women to work in oil field or something. And I said something to her, I forgot how it went, and the word slut came up. I forgot how it went. You'll see it this week. And I said, why would any man want a slut? Something like that. And she's like, oh. I'm like, what's wrong? You hurt my feelings. And I didn't call her a slut. But she felt the pain of it. That's dumber than a rock. Do you think a rock will feel the pain of a word? If I said to the rock, you a little slutty rock. Do you think the rock gonna feel the pain? So then why do you feel pain? Why are you afraid? Why do you hold on to fear inside of you? Why do you look for love from people? People don't have love to give, just like you don't have it. We don't have love to give, but you look for love. You look for approval, and you will fight. I counsel with husbands and wives who are literally fighting each other, trying to get love from one another. They both trying to get the love, and then one would say, well, I love you, and the other would say, well, I love you too, but it doesn't feel like it. You're stuck on feelings. Do you think a rock has feelings? So now do you believe me when I say human beings are dumber than a rock? It doesn't make sense to live this way. You don't have to live this way. You can, I promise you, you can live kingdom of heaven right here on earth. Everything's been done for you. You're not a sinner. You're not a saint. You're not guilty. There's nothing wrong with you, except it's in the mind. You're worshiping the devil and calling it God, or calling it you. You got to be willing to let all identities go. Last week, I told a couple of people to talk about something. And I told other people to ask a question of the person that's talking. Y'all remember that? Oh, yeah. And then, so the person will make a statement, and then some people ask questions, but they didn't just ask questions, they gave help too. Oh, you're going to be fine. Or just stay with the prayer. The statement was, the instruction was, just ask a question. But you're lost in your thoughts, and your thoughts are giving you all the answers that you've heard before, but you don't know if they're true or not. It just sounds good, and it look good to say it in front of somebody. Because those people will think you're smart, at least in your mind they're thinking that. But they're thinking, oh, all you're doing is quoting Jesse. But in your mind you think they're thinking that you're smart. Isn't that amazing? The mind is your enemy. All thoughts are all lies all the time. You got to become a rock on earth. And you can do it, but you got to live without thoughts. You got to live without identity. You must become nobody. And a nobody doesn't need anything, because a nobody never compared themselves to others. They're never without. Their needs are always met because they're not comparing themselves to the rich or the poor or the white or the black or the this or the that. This war that's happening in Israel right now, with Israel-Palestine, whatever going on, you got people dumber than a rock fighting each other in these universities and everywhere. And they have no idea what the real war is about. They've just been told what to do and how to act. They're like, oh, we were fighting over occupy land or something dumb like that. They don't own the land. And once whoever wins the war and get the land, the people who are fighting one another in these universities, they're not going to get a piece of that land. And they'll be just held up for a minute until whomever's in charge decide they want something else, and they're going to stir them up even more so. You got to lay your weapons down. You got to lay your weapons down within yourself. Stop fighting with the devil. And you got to lay your weapon down and take his sides. You don't know what's going on. Why can't you say, I'm not taking sides in this war. I don't know what's happening. I know what the media say. I know what the politicians say. Politicians lie. Politicians know the exact word to say to draw you in. and you just walk right on into it. These kids should be enjoying each other in college right now. College life is a fun life. You're supposed to be having fun, and you ain't learning nothing, no how, but you're supposed to be having fun. But they're fighting one another. They're literally on the streets fighting one another. And it's all ego. And they don't have a clue. The politicians say, watch the next politician on TV and just don't have an opinion. Don't judge him, but just watch him. You can see they lying, or she. They don't tell the truth. But if you have taken sides, you won't see that they're not telling the truth. Because human beings are dumber than a rock. You think a rock take a side of a politician? You can live, I promise you, you can have paradise here on earth, but you got to come out of thoughts and emotions. You got to, and you will be able to see what's going on without taking sides. Or when you're watching the news and they tell you the economy is bad today. There was a hurricane in Tijuana somewhere, and 800 people died. And the moment they tell you 800 people were killed, you feel bad. And you didn't know either one of those people. You didn't like them, and they didn't like you, but you feel bad. And you feel good about feeling bad. Oh, because you feel like you love somebody. You don't love nobody. There's this woman that, I have never met her in person, but she was like acting like she was really our friend here at the network. And she would write these nice cards and letters and all this. I'm like, oh, this is such a nice lady. And then find out later she had an agenda. And so when the agenda came forward, I refused to take sides with her. Because it's not, I don't care about that at all, right? And then she turned on us. She started name calling, she started writing bad letters. She said, you are afraid, that's why you want to do it. I'm not even thinking about it, but it's in her mind because that's what she wants. And if you don't do what she wants, she'll snap on you, she'll turn on you. Isn't that amazing? Dumber than a rock, but you don't have to be. You could really be free right here on earth. I've set before you life and death. Choose life. You're already dying, so why not choose life?